Hi everyone, welcome to Active Self-Protection. We are delighted that you're here today for today's evidence-based defensive lesson. I am ASP President John Correia.
And I am Stephanie Widener, ASP CEO. Welcome to Saturday's lesson.
Magtech is the only pistol or rifle ammo I use on the range, and I recommend them highly. I've seen their manufacturing and quality control firsthand, and it's incredible, which is why it always performs reliably and accurately. They are operating at max capacity and cranking out rounds for you to keep your skills sharp. Pick up some Magtech at your local ammo retailer.
This couple's just chilling in their house, although if you look carefully, there's actually a gun on the kitchen table there, and it looks like a credit card with maybe a line of Coke on the coffee table right next to her when the door opens up, and it's a couple of home invaders, one of whom goes right for the gun, the other of whom goes right for her who's awake. And now our home invader number two, look, he picked the gun up like he's got like a rag in his hand, so maybe he doesn't get his fingerprints on the guy's gun or whatever. So now he's gonna say, hey, you're coming with me, buddy. And now it turns into like a bullfight, Toro for a minute. And now a physical fight. Well, our attacker is better than our little skinny home guy at fighting. And so he's gonna pull him over here and start beating him over the head with his own gun. And whoop him up pretty good, though our homeowner here, or renter, I don't know, is definitely gonna try to get that gun away from him. But as we're gonna talk about in the lessons, remember, he's holding onto the holdy-onny part and you're holding onto the shooty part, and that makes it harder. And so eventually he's gonna stop. He's gonna stop trying to fight the guy, and the guy is then going to kind of wrestle him down to the ground. Now, we can't see what's going on with the girlfriend, but it looks like she's been subdued on the ground as well. So he's gonna smush that guy down, get on top of him here, and then end up getting him to get his hands behind his back. And I just really want you to think about how much time is elapsing here. You know, tick, 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 tick. And I don't know that there's anybody else in the house. The news story that I have linked in the description says that they had no previous relationship or knowledge of these guys, whatever. Well, they're gonna go and lock the doors, and then gonna come and zip tie the girlfriend, as well as, I'm taking it girlfriend, the female, as well as the guy, and leave him on the ground. And then for the next several minutes, which I have sped up simply for the sake of time, they are going to look around the house. Now, what are they looking for? I don't know, but this smells like bad juju, like drug-involved stuff to me, is what it smells like to me. Can I prove that? No. And the news story says nothing about that. But with the little evidence of the credit card and the line of Coke on the coffee table, that seems to make sense to me. Though I'm not positive it's that. Okay, fine. You know, he's got him zip tied. He's gotten stuff out of his pocket. They're gonna look around. Now watch what happens with our homeowner dude. He's gonna go over and like mess with the alarm panel is what that looks like. Like maybe he's gonna hit the panic on the alarm panel, which our home invader recognizes he's done. In the process, he gets out of his zip ties. So they were like Home Depot grade zip ties here. And that's gonna lead to them beating him up a little bit more and then trying to get out. But remember, they had locked the doors, and I don't know if it's some kind of secret squirrel code for them trying to figure that stuff out, how to get out of the house, but they're struggling to get out. Notice our homeowner here, he's trying to get into something, like he thinks maybe there's another gun in that console, but they're gonna end up running off, and he ends up locking the door. The news story says that they didn't get away with nothing. So I don't know what happened to the gun, but they didn't get away with any valuables or anything, and it doesn't look like anybody was badly harmed in this one. But think about how long this took, and especially with the fact that I have sped it up just because of the time constraints of these kinds of videos, and you can recognize this one took a long time. Scary thing, they were lucky to come out of it without physical injury. You know, Steph, we hear in the comments that people hate YouTube's algorithms, and you know, we do have a solution for that.
Yeah, we hear all the time people want a place where they can see what they want to see and not depend on an algorithm to serve them something, or something being censored by another company they want to have control. So if that is you, come check us out on our app, ASP Unlimited.
You can check it out, links in the description. So Steph, I think we can safely say that, you know, hey kids, stay in school and don't do drugs and stay out of gang activity. And you'll probably be okay in circumstances like this, and also lock your dang doors and use your alarm systems.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can have a home invasion just not being involved in any issues at all, you know, things that are untoward, but the odds are far higher if you're involved in kind of a dangerous lifestyle that something like this will happen. So the best way to protect against home invasions is not be involved in illegal activity. And again, we don't know that they are. However, it seems just a little bit shady here, the way the guys came running in directly for the gun and the drugs and who knows what else going on. It just seems a little shady. And not being shady is a great way to not be invaded in your home.
So fun fact, we actually had a home invasion at a home near mine. This was a number of years ago. And he ended up, the home defender ended up shooting and killing one of the home invaders, and that was all gonna be fine, but they did end up jamming him up for all of the drugs in his house. And so, again, his home invasion was because of drugs. Notice here that one of the bad guys goes right for the gun. He knew that gun was there, or at least it looks like he did to me. And I can't say this enough. I know plenty of people in the firearms space, they keep guns staged around the house and those things. But this kind of stuff is why I say you've got to secure the firearms from unauthorized access. And that's why that's a rule of safe firearms handling. Because, somebody breaks into your home, they have as much access to your guns as you do if you leave them out.
Well, and one of the rules of stupid is not being around stupid people. And I think one of the things we have to be careful of is the people that we let into our homes when we have things that are valuable for bad guys, guns and things like that. If anyone that you let into your home and you're not cautious about who you let into your home can see guns sitting on your table, or you have friends that are a little bit shady on their own and might tell somebody that there's guns and drugs at your home, then you open yourself up to a lot of problems. So just being a little bit cautious with your own personal security, maybe not letting people know what valuables you have in your home. And of course, you know how, especially with kids and everything, how I feel about leaving unsecured firearms around, even when you don't have small children in the house. I just think it's a recipe for disaster.
It really is. So even if you don't have small kids, certainly if you have small kids, it's reckless negligence, right? So he's gonna point the gun at him, and now our guy is gonna be like, oh, okay, whatever. But recognize our bad guy decides, nah, I'm not excited about the level of complacency here, or you not complying like I want you to. And so he's gonna reach over and beat him with that gun a little bit. And I say this when it happens on the channel. What we normally see is that if somebody uses a gun as a bludgeoning tool, if they beat you with the gun, it's seldom that they're willing to use it as a ballistic tool. It indicates that they don't want to use the gun as a gun, they just want it to intimidate you. And so that's actually a good sign and should tell you, oh, okay, I'm gonna reach out and grab this gun now and take it away from him, because he doesn't want to use it on me other than to beat me with it.
The one thing to be cautious of, I would think though, a couple of good thonks with a gun on the melon could be really dangerous as far as brain injury and things like that. So obviously it's not great, but I really think it does. If you're doing the calculus in your head, what kind of fighting back you want to do, and if you want to try to get that gun, I think it's a good data point that the likelihood of him using it is low in this circumstance, at least from the evidence presented and what we've seen.
Yeah, it's not zero, okay? So we have seen people then subsequently use it, but not often. Usually they won't. Usually then they're using it as an intimidation tool, especially one here that wasn't one he brought to the fight. He got it in the fight. And so that's pretty important. But also our defender here doesn't look like he can fight. It doesn't look like he knows how to control his body. It doesn't look like he has any kind of training in grappling. And so this guy is able to overpower him with physical strength. So, as they used to say, life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid. And if you're going to be stupid, you need to be tough. I think some level of empty-handed skills is important for self-defenders. And I think it's an underutilized thing. Now, we can't see the female off screen, Steph, but certainly she could have used some empty-handed skills too.
Yeah, if one of them could have gotten away, that would have changed things around. And we always say attitude, covers a multitude of sins and mistakes, and often it does. In this case, our defender seems to have a good attitude. He never does give up, but he just doesn't have any skills to back it up. And sometimes attitude isn't enough, and you really need skills to work your way out of this situation. He's pretty outclassed here.
It really is, and they both are. Now, there's times where you're just gonna have to fight no matter what. And for me and for mine, being tied up is one of those times. One of those times that I'm gonna fight no matter what. But this is why we say, Steph, you have to set your own boundaries, because these people were tied up. They didn't end up hurt from it. It doesn't look like they were physically or sexually assaulted. So that worked out okay. But I think the chances are so high, I'm just not willing to do it.
Well, and for those of us living good, sane, sober, moral, prudent lives, the chances of a home invasion are low. However, if you do become the victim of one, that's a special kind of person and criminal that is going to invade a home knowing there are people inside there. And I think that puts you in a very dangerous spot. And I think that is, for me, one of those situations where you fight regardless of what the odds are. You're not going down on the ground. You're not getting tied up. You know, regardless of your chances of winning, you can't get to that position because someone, you know, a home invasion in a home of someone that's not involved in some type of criminal trade is really dangerous place to be.
Yeah, and it looked to me like he was using the panel to try to maybe summon police, like a panic button here. Friends, that old adage is very true. When seconds count, the police are only minutes away. Here, many minutes away. And so I think he's looking for a gun here at the end. I think he's looking for another gun that he has staged. And again, though, I just want you to recognize the only thing that's really going to get you to a gun in this case is having some warning that comes from somebody trying to break down a door where they still have a barrier. Because by the time you're in the middle of this, it's frankly too late. And I think people have these fantasies that they're going to be able to go John Wick style and pick up guns. But in reality, what we see here is what happens all the time, Steph. They're just basically may as well be in Narnia.
Yeah, his first indication he was in a home invasion was a gun in his face. Now, if your first indication can be someone trying to break through a door and some noise there, or a dog barking, or an alarm going off, something that can give you some time and space, some layers to your security plan there, then maybe you have more time to go get to something. But in this case, he didn't have any layers. His first indication was a gun in the face, and he had no time to get to a gun that wasn't on his body. Regardless, I'm not sure he had many options to use it because he never really was dominating in the fight.
It's just proof, in my opinion, that owning a gun by itself doesn't keep you safe. It's a multi-layered plan that says, wait a minute, where are my defensive boundaries? And again, having maybe some cameras outside that have some motion sensors, locking your door, using your alarm system. Those are the kind of things that give you early warning that might make a firearm useful if somebody is a determined home invader. But otherwise, just having a gun in the house doesn't make you safer if you don't have the skills and the plan to use it. So please, let's do better than this. Let's remember, don't do drugs, kids. Stay in school, eat your vegetables, and cover your asp.